Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cha Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanti Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, starting new chapter today, chapter 4, Sati quits her body, text number 1 onwards. Maitreya Vacha Etavaduktva Viradham Shankaraha Patanyam Jnanasham Ubhyatra Chintayan Suhrididrikshu Parishankita Bhavan Nishkramati Nirvashati Dvidhasasa. The sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati. Seeing her between decisions, Sati was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room as a swing moves this way and that. So in the previous chapter, we saw how Lord Shiva tried to dissuade Sati from going to Daksha's place to attend the sacrifice, but more than attending the sacrifice, she wanted to wear the jewelry and nice clothes and makeup and wanted to see her mother and sisters and other relatives and have some social gathering. But Lord Shiva, he tried to dissuade her, and now Sati was very confused. One side she wanted to go, and the other side Shivji was not telling her not to go, and there was a confusion. Sati's mind was divided about whether to go to her father's house or obey the orders of Lord Shiva. The struggle between the two decisions was so strong that she was pushed from one side of the room to another, and she began to move just like the pendulum of a clock. Suhrididriksha pratighat durmana snehadrutdatya ashru kalati vivalaha bhavam bhavani aprati purusham rusha pradhakshati vakshat jatave pathu. Sati felt very sorry at being forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house, and due to affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Shiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision. So she was now using the ultimate weapon of ladies, the tears. And she really wanted to go, and Shivji was forbidding her, and like she was looking at Lord Shiva as if she's gonna blast him with her vision. I guess this is the story of every household. Even Lord Shiva is not exempted from this. The word aprayati purusham used in this verse means one who has no equal. Lord Shiva has no equal in the material world in regard to equality towards everyone. His wife Sati knew that her husband was equal towards everyone. So why in this case was he so unkind to his wife that he did not allow her to go to her father's house? This distressed her more than she could tolerate, and she looked at her husband as if she were ready to blast him with her vision. In other words, since Lord Shiva is Atma, Shiva also means Atma, it is indicated here that Sati was prepared to commit suicide. Another meaning of the word Apratipurusha is a personality who has no rival. Since Lord Shiva could not be persuaded to give her permission, Sati took shelter of a woman's last weapon, weeping, which forces a husband to agree to the proposal of his wife. So this, if we look at figuratively, so she was She was throwing both the Agni Astra and Varunastra at Shivji, and Shivji was helpless in front of that. Tato vinishvasya sati vihaitam shokena roshena chaduyata hrada pitrora gatastrayana vimodadhira grihan prenatmano yurdham dat satam priya. Thereafter, Sati left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. According to the Vedic conception of family life, the husband gives half his body to his wife, and the wife gives half of her body to her husband. In other words, a husband without a wife or a wife without a husband is incomplete. Vedic marital relationships existed between Lord Shiva and Sati, but sometimes, due to weakness, a woman becomes very much attracted by the members of her father's house. And this happened to Sati. In this verse, it is specifically mentioned that she wanted to leave such a great husband as Shiva because of her womanly weakness. In other words, womanly weakness exists even in relationships between husband and wife. Generally, separation between husband and wife is due to womanly behavior. Divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. Well, this is proper writing, so maybe it's not politically correct, but scripturally it must be correct. The best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. That makes family life very peaceful. Sometimes there may be misunderstandings between husband and wife, as found even in such an elevated family relationship as that of Sati and Lord Shiva. But a wife should not leave her husband's protection because of such a misunderstanding. If she does so, it is understood to be due to her womanly weakness. But Kali Yuga, we know, everything is topsy-turvy. But anyway, going back to the story, so she didn't leave Shiva's house. It's that she just wanted to go to the sacrifice at her father's house and come back. There was no case of divorce here. But like the chapter says, Sati quits her body, the title of the chapter. So she will leave her body over there and she's not going to come back in this incident. Tamanavagachan drut vikramam sati mekam trinetranuchara sahasrasha saparshad yaksha maniman madadayaha puro vrishendra tarasagat vitha. When they saw Sati leaving alone very rapidly, thousands of Lord Shiva's disciples, headed by Maniman and Mada, quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas. Sati was going very fast so that she might not be checked by her husband, but she was immediately followed by many thousands of disciples of Lord Shiva, headed by the Yakshas, Maniman and Mada. The word Gatta Vitha, used in this connection, means without fear. Sati did not care that she was going alone, therefore she was almost fearless. The word Anuchara is also significant, for it indicates that Lord Shiva's disciples were always ready to sacrifice anything for Lord Shiva. All of them could understand the desire of Lord Shiva, who did not want Sati to go alone. And Shivji himself, he didn't want to go. So his followers or his disciples, and thousands of them, they just went with Sati. Anuchara means those who can immediately understand the purpose of their master. And look at all the disciples. Nandi is going, Yakshas are going, and other good disciples, great disciples. They were going with Sati. And we can now we can understand there will be big problem because of the followers who are going with Sati. Tam sarika kandu kadarpanambuja shweta patra vyajanastrgadibhi gita yaner dundu bhishank venubhir vrashendram aropya vitankita yayuhu. The disciples of Lord Shiva arranged for Sati to be seated on the back of a bull and gave her the bird which was her pet, just to calm her down. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment, and covered her with a great canopy, followed by a singing party with drums, conch shells, and bugles. The entire procession was as pompous as a royal parade. So, of course, she's wife of Lord Shiva. She cannot just go walking or just like an ordinary woman. Abram Ghoshorajit Yagya Vashasam Viprashya Jushtam Vibudhashya Sarvashaha Mirdarvaya Kanchan Darba Charmabhir Nisrishta Bhandam Yajanam Samavishat. She then reached her father's house where the sacrifice was being performed and entered the arena where everyone was chanting the Vedic hymns. The great sages, Brahmins, and demigods were all assembled there, and there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pots made of clay, wood, iron, gold, grass, and skin, which are all requisites for the sacrifice. When learned sages and Brahmins assembled to chant Vedic mantras, some of them also engaged in arguing about the conclusions of the scriptures. Thus, some of the sages and Brahmins were arguing. And some of them were chanting the Vedic mantra. So the entire atmosphere was surcharged with transcendental sound vibration. This transcendental sound vibration has been simplified in the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In this age, no one is expected to be highly educated in the Vedic ways of understanding because people are very slow, lazy, and unfortunate. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the sound vibration Hare Krishna, and in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is also recommended. Yajna Sankirtan Praya Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. At the present moment, it is impossible to gather sacrificial necessities because of the poverty of the population and their lack of knowledge in the Vedic mantras. Therefore, for this age, it is recommended that people gather together and chant the Hare Krishna mantra to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is accompanied by his associates. Indirectly, this indicates Lord Chaitanya, who is accompanied by his associates Nityananda, Advaita, and others. That is the process of performing yajna in this age. So thing is, Sati went there, and then that arena, the Brahmins are there, demigods, rishi, sages are there, all assembled there, and many sacrificial animals. But like here, the yajna is going on, but not everybody is there just for the purpose of sacrifice. Like Sati actually wanted to go and meet her sisters, meet her mother and other relatives. So it's a combination of both sacrifice plus social gathering. And it happens everywhere actually. Even when we perform some festival, some occasion, whether it is a sacrifice or whether suppose somebody is getting initiated or some kirtan is there, kirtan mela is there, or some bathing ceremony of deities is there based on their appearance day. Yes, people are engaged in that service, but most of us, they are engaged in some social gathering. Okay, so watching the bathing, but at the same time talking and just enjoying the whole festival. So it's natural, it's normal. Another significant point in this verse is that there were animals for sacrifice. That these animals were meant for sacrifice does not mean that they were meant to be killed. The great sages and realized souls assembled were performing yajnas, and their realization was tested by animal sacrifice. Just as in modern science, tests are made on animals to determine the effectiveness of a particular medicine. The Brahmins entrusted with the performance of yajna were very realized souls, and to test their realization, an old animal was offered in the fire and rejuvenated. That was a test of a Vedic mantra. The animals gathered were not meant to be killed and eaten. So that was not the purpose of sacrifice. The real purpose of a sacrifice was not to replace a slaughterhouse, but to test a Vedic mantra by giving an animal a new life. Animals were used to test the powers of Vedic mantras, not for meat. So there are many times people condemned Vedic sacrifices, that so many animals were being killed, but that was not they were getting killed, but this was a sacrifice. So the point was the Brahmins would chant the mantra so effectively, so purely, so powerfully that the animal would, and they would sacrifice an old animal, not a young animal, first of all. So the point was the old animal would right away, immediately in front of everybody, either he will get a young animal's body or he will get a human body. So this is how powerful these Brahmins were. So there was no loss for the animal who's getting killed for the sacrifice. And moreover, the flesh was not to be eaten by the Brahmins. Brahmins cannot eat flesh. And if they do, they won't have any potency to perform the yajnas. Tamagatam tatra na kaschana driyad vimanitam yajya kritu bhayanjana rite susriga jananim cha sadaraha premashru kanthya parishasva jurmataha. When Sati with her followers reached the arena, because all the people assembled were afraid of Daksha, none of them received her well. No one welcomed her but her mother and sisters, who, with the tears in their eyes and with glad faces, welcomed her and talked with her very pleasingly. So only the relatives, especially her mother and sisters, they are the ones who welcomed her. The mother and sisters of Sati could not follow the others who did not receive Sati very well. Due to natural affection, they immediately embraced her with tears in their eyes and with loving feelings. This shows that women as a class are very soft-hearted. Their natural affection and love cannot be checked by any artificial means. Although the men present were very learned Brahmins and demigods, they were afraid of their superior Daksha. And because they knew that their welcoming Sati would displease him, although in their minds they wanted to receive her, they could not do so. Women are naturally soft-hearted, but men are sometimes very hard-hearted. So it's natural. And because of this natural tendency or this quality of ladies, it's very easy for them to surrender to Krishna and take up devotion service. Devotional service actually makes our heart very soft. Very, very soft. Soft like a butter, so Krishna can come and steal it. Soft in the sense, I mean, they can empathize with somebody else's pain. They can, the person with a soft heart can show compassion to others. Not passion. Passion is a job for men. Women show compassion to others. They're very merciful on others. Just like Lord Ram, He was Maryada Purushottam, but he killed so many Rakshasas, and he even banished Mother Sita, although the logic is different, but he did banish her. And then Krishna, he also killed so many demons, and he orchestrated this whole war of Mahabharata that millions and millions of people got killed. And then he even left the Brajvasis and went away. So many pastimes. But this all show to a certain extent is hard-heartedness, or even Lord Ram's hard-heartedness. Nrsimhadev, when he came, he killed Hiranyakashipu, and then he killed so many of his soldiers and ministers. And so do all the incarnations. But when the same Lord Krishna, who comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he does not kill anybody. Why? Because he is Krishna himself, but he took the mood of Srimati Radharani. So it was the mood of Srimati Radharani, who was very, very merciful, very compassionate towards all the fallen conditioned souls, not just the people who are surrendered. Krishna says in Gita, surrender unto me, sarva dharman parityaja. Mahaprabhu did not say anything, just chant. That is because it was the mood of Srimati Radharani. That's a feminine mood. Only once Mahaprabhu got so angry that he wanted to kill Jagai and Madai, but Nityananda Prabhu stopped him. And of course, we can understand Nityananda Prabhu, he is Balramji himself, no doubt. But Balramji, if you look at Krishna Leela, Ram Leela as Lakshman, he was very demons. So it is also said that Nityananda Prabhu, he is Balramji, but his another expansion is Ananga Manjari, who's the younger sister of Srimati Radharani in Krishna Leela. So actually that is the mood that is more prevalent in Nityananda Prabhu, Ananga Manjari. And with that mood, he also became more merciful than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's actually that mood of ladies, and they take, when even the Supreme Lord takes, it becomes more compassionate. So this mood of soft-heartedness. So her mother and her sisters, they knew Daksha would get angry, but still they could not resist welcoming Sati and receiving her well. Sodarya samprashna samarthavartaya matra cha matrishva sribhishcha sadaram dattam saparayam varamasanam chasa nadatta pitra pratinandita sati. Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception. And although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything. For her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare. And this is what Lord Shiva was afraid of. And that's exactly what is happening. That Daksha did not talk with her or neither welcomed her with kind words. Sati did not accept the greetings offered by her sisters and mother, for she was not at all satisfied by her father's silence. Sati was the youngest child of Daksha, and she knew that she was his pet child. But now, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all his affection for his daughter, and this very much aggrieved her. Daughters are generally very close to their fathers, and especially the youngest daughter. And Daksha, we can only imagine the anger that was there in Daksha's heart, that he didn't even receive his own little girl very well, because she was related to Lord Shiva now. And it was Daksha himself made the arrangement for the marriage of Sati and Shiva. But now, because of this anger in his heart, he's not even receiving his own daughter properly. The material bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationships of love and affection are nullified. Bodily relationships are so transient that even though one is affectionate towards someone in a bodily relationship, a slight provocation terminates this intimacy. So bodily relationships are so transient. So even though one is affectionate, but that slight provocation can terminate this intimacy. And it is generally seen in the household. Father and son and brothers, brother and sister, brother and mother. Generally that mother-brother or mother-son relationship doesn't end very quickly, but it can happen as well. Just a slight provocation, that's it. And the brothers, for 50 years, 60 years, they say, I don't want to see your face again. I don't want to see you. I have nothing to do with you anymore. That is the material world where we have material bodily relationships. Arudra bhagam tam veksha chadharam pitra cha deve krita helanam vibho anadrita yagya sadasya dhishvari chukopalokane dakshati rusha. Present in the arena of sacrifice, Sati saw that there were no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha did not receive her either. Thus she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. So earlier she was going to burn Lord Shiva with her eyes, and now she's ready to burn burn her father, Daksha, with her eyes. Means she was so angry at Daksha. By offering oblations in the fire while chanting the Vedic mantra Swaha, one offers respect to all the demigods, great sages and pitas, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. It is customary that Shiva is one of those who are offered respects, but Sati, while personally present in the arena, saw that the Brahmins did not utter the mantra, offering oblations to Lord Shiva, Namah Shivaya Swaha. She was not sorry for herself, for she was ready to come to her father's house without being invited, but she wanted to see whether or not her husband was being respected. To see her relatives, her sisters and mother was not so important. Even when she was received by her mother and sisters, she did not care, for she was most concerned that her husband was being insulted in the sacrifice. When she marked the insult, she became greatly angry, and she looked at her father so angrily that Daksha appeared to burn in her vision. And so this is the real purpose of Sati's visit. Was she wanted to see if her husband is getting the proper respect in the sacrifice. But this was one of the curses of Daksha to Lord Shiva in the previous chapter, when Daksha said, you will not get that sacrifice that all the demigods have the right to. Lord Shiva didn't mind. In fact, he was happy that he didn't have to sit with all the materially motivated demigods, but still it was an insult for Lord Shiva. And Sati witnessed that, and she got very angry. So we'll see what she says tomorrow onwards. So any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I have small doubts regarding the different emotions, different anarthas. Like we sometimes replace anger with envy. So envy is a separate feeling, or envy gives rise to anger, or anger. I don't think anger gives rise to envy. So how these qualities are related? We know that from lust anger arises, from anger delusion arises, and all these things. But how is envy and anger connected? In this case of Daksha, he seems to be genuinely angry because he was not given proper respect by his son-in-law. But then we also see that he had a long-standing envy with Lord Shiva, and he had some bad impressions about Lord Shiva. But that cannot be called an envy. No? We envy somebody only when we feel that he is better than me and I want to pull him down. So that is envy. So how to relate these two emotions of anger and envy?
So here, like Prabhupada had explained earlier, Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva because of his name and fame. And Daksha, even though he is the best of the Prajapatis, son of Brahmaji, wonderful life and beauty and opulence, he was not as famous as Lord Shiva. So because of this envy, he was envious of Lord Shiva's position and he could not do anything to bring him down, because when he was getting angry at Lord Shiva in that sacrifice, Lord Shiva did not respond. He did not curse him, counter curse him. He just left. So he was so tolerant, so gentle. So Daksha became more angry, and because of this anger, he committed offense. So envy ultimately leads to anger, and then offenses.
Okay. So this all this anger which Daksha is showing is due to that root causes envy.
Yep.
But anger can also be triggered by lust also, right?
What is lust?
Lust means I desire something, I don't get it, then I become angry.
So I desire something that somebody else has.
Okay.
So that is envy, right?
That is envy, but see, somebody has got something and they are not giving it to me because I expect that they will give it to me. Like somebody is having prasadam and he was distributing and he has not distributed as bigger than me. So how this can be envy? This
Because he
looks.
has something that I don't have.
No, we don't think like this. If some devotee is serving prasadam and he didn't give me two gulab jamun, so I became angry with him. So that was not envy. Where is the question of envy?
Oh, not in this case, but maybe I got envious of somebody else having two gulab jamuns and I don't. See, root cause is somewhere lying somewhere. Maybe it doesn't come out at that time, but the root cause is there somewhere. And that is envy. And because of envy, we are here in the material world, right? So the root cause is envy.
That's right. Then we should not say these lust, anger, greed, all these are anarthas. The only anartha in our heart is envy, because that is the cause of all other anarthas. And all other anarthas can be engaged in the service of the Lord except envy. So we should
So
not call
that
the rest anarthas only.
they are the anarthas, but the root cause is the envy. And that is why the envy is said it is most difficult to take out. It is said, Kam, Krodh, Lomo, Mad, Matsarya. Matsarya is enviousness or jealousy.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. So thank you all very much. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna. Jai Shri
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Mother.